Hello, everybody. How are y'all this fine day? It was pretty here in Savannah. It's a little chilly this morning, but it's like 67 outside there right now here in Savannah. It's nice. Supposed to be a nice week till the end of the week when it's supposed to warm up to like 80 and we start to get a chance for rain. So it's nice. It is beautiful weather. I hope y'all all had a good Monday, or as good as Monday can be, you know. I got a video for us to watch today. This comes out of, I'm pretty sure this is Clayton County. Um, it's civilians, warrants that civilians have sworn out against others. That means that the police have probably been contacted and they didn't want to mess with it. And so the people are having to swear out their warrants themselves, which can be pretty interesting. And of course, I forgot to put my earbud in again. That's just typical. Yeah. Thanks, JoJo, for noticing. Yeah, we hit 22,000 subscribers last night. That's just incredible to me. I I'm tickled to death. I thank y'all so much. Y'all are awesome. I really appreciate y'all watching, and I'm glad y'all enjoy. Um, let's get going. What do y'all think?
That address, we'll put you right back on.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Miss Harmon. All right. So those parties in position 3, I'm going to have you go ahead, take your cells off mute. I'm going to have your witnesses, Mr. Fires, go ahead and be placed in what's called a breakout room. We like to sequester witnesses. Why do we do that? We do that because we don't want folks trying to tailor their evidence to whatever was said during the testimony. So, clerk, if we can take Miss Lashimi as well. Welcome, as, let's see, there was another individual that was there. We'll remove them. Those parties in position 5 and 2, you can turn your cameras off. Feel free to watch because obviously what I will do in this case, I will subsequently be doing in your matter as well. Okay? All right, fellas, let me tell you how we're going to do this so you guys know what to expect. I'm going to get both of you under oath, and then I'm going to give each of you about 2.5 minutes to give me a little bit of background about why you're here. Mr. Corley, you assumingly would be providing me evidence or testimony, testimony, essentially of what led up to this event and what actually happened. And again, this is regarding your allegation here specifically.
What is that? He's asking you what.
Hold on, folks. Let's
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here. Hold tight.
Okay.
All right.
I need. Hold tight. Okay.
Need milk.
All right. So, Mr. Corley, you got an allegation against Mr. Fayez for battery. All right. And that would have occurred according to your application. So, this event occurred on December 8th, 2022. And apparently, this is out of a potential landlord-tenant relationship. Okay.
When I saw these two, it reminded me of Fred Sanford and his buddy Grady. For y'all that are old enough to remember that's what they kind of reminded me of, especially Mr. Corley. He reminds me of Grady quite a bit.
All right, so fellas, let me get you to raise your right hand. Mr. Corley, raise that right hand. Let me see it for you. All right, I'm going to ask you, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and the penalty and perjury of the law?
I do.
All right. So this again is how we're going to do it. Mr. Corley, I'm going to give you 2.5 minutes to be able to give a breakdown about this event that happened on December 8th, 2022.
No, that's all
right. Battery. I don't mind a little bit of background, but I don't want a whole bunch of what happened to you in high school or college, okay? Because people like to go on those tangents. Mr. Fayez, I'm going to give you an opportunity to also give an opening statement regarding your position. Once you complete that, Mr. Corley, I'm going to give you an opportunity to introduce any type of physical evidence that you've emailed the court. or any testimony from any witnesses that you intend to introduce. And then Mr. Fayez, I'm going to give you an opportunity to cross-examine Mr. Corley or any of his witnesses that he intends to introduce. And then Mr. Fayez, I'm going to give you an opportunity to introduce any witnesses that you have and any evidence that you may have. And then I'm going to give Mr. Corley an opportunity to cross-examine those folks, right? And then after conclusion of that evidence, I will allow folks to do a short closing statement of about 2 minutes of why they believe an arrest warrant should be issued or not issued. And then at the conclusion of that matter, I'll make a determination. All right.
True.
So keep that in mind. If I issue an arrest warrant, I will give you guys additional information about that. All right, Mr. Fayez, I'm going to go ahead and get you on mute, and I'm going to allow Mr. Corley. Right now, it is 7:02. I'm going to give you, Mr. Corley, till 7:05 to go ahead and complete your opening statement.
Well, Judge, Your Honor, I'd much rather have an attorney to represent me because I'm disabled and I don't want to say something that's wrong, and I'm going to be honest about it. But I'd much rather be represented by an attorney.
So remember, you're the applicant. So if you want an attorney to represent you in pursuit of this matter, that would be your prerogative. I'm happy to continue it, but just remember that you have been noticed. Mr. Fayez is here. You are not here. You are not here with your counsel, and you had all the notice because you're the one bringing the matter, right? You're not the defendant. You don't necessarily have this. You have the rights, but you're not actually the person being pursued for a charge. So just want to make sure you understand. Do you feel capable of presenting the evidence in this case for the allegation that you're making against Mr. Fayez?
I can tell you the truth of what happened.
Well, that's all I want to know. Now,
That'd
if you
be
want
good.
counsel now, you are intended to have counsel. I mean, it's a little different because you're not the defendant, but if you want counsel.
Okay, I can tell you what happened.
Well, it's up to you.
Yes, I can. I will.
All right. Well, look, now it's 7:04. I'm going to give you this 7:07. Now, I just want to make sure now you are okay with proceeding without an attorney. You're not the defendant, at least not according to my calendar. You're not the respondent. Are you okay proceeding today?
I'll proceed, Judge.
All right. Well, then, again, now it is essentially 7:05. I'm going to give you till 7:07 again, 2.5 minutes or so. Go ahead. Tell me what's going on about the December 8th, 2022 event of battery.
I came home. I came downstairs, going to my room or heading toward, I was really moving. I wanted to go to the bathroom because I was holding myself, trying to get in the house to go to the bathroom. Rad Fayez came running from upstairs, downstairs, past me. Because I'm a little disabled when I don't move down the stairs so fast. He went past me and got to the house, to the door in the bottom before me. When I came down, I told him, he said, "You're not going in my house." This is what he said to me. I said, "Well, I got to go to the bathroom. I don't know." I said, "I got to go to the bathroom." He says to me, "Well, you can go in the woods or you can go on yourself, but you're not going in my house." That's what he said to me. So I'm in the middle of this here, and I said, "Well, I paid the rent. Why I can't go? What is it? I want to go to." Anyway, I started to put my key in the door, and he attacked me and wrestled the keys from me. And I, in the course of this scuffle, I made number one and number two all over myself.
See, now that's a mess. That's a real mess.
And then after that, he took the keys and left me there like that. And then I'm like in this state, I'm banging on the door. And then the other guy that was living downstairs, Zero, he came to the door and opened the door for me. and I went into the bathroom and cleaned myself up. And then that's when I called the police. And that's when, the ambulance came. And that's when I went to the hospital. That's what happened.
Okay. All right, thank you. I'm gonna put you on mute. I'm gonna allow Mr. Fayez to tell me as well what happened that day. Mr. Fayez? You gotta take yourself off mute though, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yes, he did not live there anymore. He had moved on November the 20th, and he was living over, I think, in a masjid called Masjid Mukmanoon. He was staying over there, had not been there. All of a sudden, it was not 12 a.m. at night. It was like 7 a.m. in the morning. And a truck, a van came, which is a van, the transport van who transports him because he goes back and forth to the hospital all the time, came there, and he came off that van, off that truck. And so I'm wondering, I had the keys from him already. The only thing he had there was his things. He already had moved. There was a furnished room.
Oh, thanks, JoJo. I really appreciate it. Yeah, 22,000. You'd have told me that when I got started, I wouldn't have believed it. I sure wouldn't have. Thank y'all so much. I'm glad y'all enjoy. Thanks again, JoJo. It's very generous.
He was a paid guest. So the reason why he was evicted, or when I say evicted, he just left because we had an agreement. We know the imam, both of us know the imam, so he left on his own. My daughter, he would come down in the kitchen butt naked, several times, butt naked. She's on the line, butt naked, and
Butt naked. Now that's a sight there now.
You knew that this person lived at this address.
Oh, dadgummit.
Once if you're dismissing it.
That button is
And
so
again,
close.
This is regardless any witnesses that you had and any evidence that you may have. And then I'm going to know now if you want.
Came down. I told him, he said,
it was like 7 a.m. in the morning.
Sorry.
In the morning.
The button's like right next to it. I wish they'd change that.
A van came, which is a van, the transport van who transports him because he goes back and forth to the hospital all the time, came there, and he came off that van, off that truck. And so I'm wondering, I had the keys from him already. The only thing he had there was his things. He already had moved. There was a furnished room. He was a paid guest. So the reason why he was evicted, or when I say evicted, he just left because we had an agreement. And we know the imam, both of us know the imam, so he left on his own. My daughter, he would come down in the kitchen butt naked, several times, butt naked. She's on the line, butt naked, and very insulting. So I found out from his caretaker.
Had to say it 3 times.
Sometimes he has psychological problems. So I don't know all these things, but his caretaker's he's called a caretaker. He's really just a close friend, but he's a caretaker, and he had shared with me a few things about him that I didn't even know. He was put out of 2 different masjid. They banned him from there. He had tried to get money from one. He got money for Farouk on 14th Street, I think about 10 grand. So I didn't know. And so when the medics came, they knew him. They said, "Corey, you still doing this?" That's what they said. The police was standing right there. The police looked at him. Corey put his head down. The police looked at him and walked, and both of them just left. The firemen there was policemen, and I think there was also the medics was the last ones that came. There's also the firemen and police. The medics was the last ones, and they said they knew him. Mr. Corey, you still doing this? That's what they said. My daughter's on the line, so she can confirm what he did. So that's the one reason. And plus, he owed money. He owed $400. He hadn't paid.
Well, hold on. We're gonna get to it, but I want you to respect the court's time because obviously you're saying a couple of things, and I want to give an opportunity for folks to testify, and so to do evidence. So just give me a second. I'm gonna let you say more, but usually it's gonna come through some testimony. So hold tight. So the court gets a little bit of what you're talking about. So what I'm gonna do, Mr. Corley, I understand when we announced, thank you, Mr. Fives, but when we announced, you said you had evidence. What evidence did you submit to the court so I can make sure I can pull it up?
Well, the evidence that I have is
I don't know if we want to see the evidence.
that that he attacked me, and I went to the hospital, that and you know I and the Imam Furqan Muhammad came to the hospital and picked me up from the hospital, and that's when the first time I went, I was staying right there where at 537 Rays Road. That's where I was living. I didn't have another place to live, but I called the
Well,
man.
hold on. Because you're now just giving me more and more, which I understand you have no witnesses, but you had indicated to me earlier that you had some evidence.
I submitted the
Thank
paperwork
God.
that I have, and to recall what happened to me, so I can, because sometimes, I'm just in a situation that I was attacked
No,
and put
no.
out. He attacked me. He assaulted me and took the keys from me.
I
And all my stuff is still in the house.
I
All
got
my
it.
clothes, all my mail.
Hold on. I'm gonna ask some more questions
Thanks, MB. I sure do appreciate it. Yeah, I look out every once in a while.
shortly. Clerk, did Mr. Corley submit any evidence or an email to you?
Judge, the only the only evidence that was submitted was what was attached with the
Ooh, no.
application and the request that he wanted to continue this case, this hearing tonight for another date, but nothing else.
Okay. All right, so Mr. Corley, you didn't submit any other physical evidence, did you?
I had paperwork that I sent there, and I got the receipts from the post office where it was sent back to me for return mail. I mean, because I sent stuff to the courts in reference to the situation, and where they have to sign for it, and in order for to know that they received it. I don't, I have those receipts with me, that I've sent to the courts in reference to the situation to explain what happened and trying to understand, what's going on.
Okay.
And that's why I said I asked for it, because it's so confusing to me.
Well, hold on, Mr. Corley, hold tight. All right, so let me just make sure I understand, because I still want to be able to make sure that folks like Mr. Fayez gets an opportunity to defend himself against these allegations. All right, so I have looked at the documents that you provided, but I don't see anything other than the report that was originally made. I do see they essentially state the allegations that you're currently making now, but there were nothing in there that you supplied to the court that was any evidence of the event of the battery that you're alleging that Mr. Fayez provided.
What?
Or committed against you.
Where I'm going to the doctor now. Don't they? I went to Emory Hospital from there. I haven't been back to that place.
You notice we talk about he had injuries and everything, but there's been no discussion of what injuries he had. Yeah, I feel bad for the guy. I really do. Not looking very good for him, though.
Since he attacked me.
I understand, and I understand the police report as well that was reviewed said that there were no visible injury, but that's okay. That doesn't mean that a touching didn't happen, battery didn't happen. So if you don't have
Okay, I'm listening, Judge.
do you have any evidence other than what you submitted to the court in your initial
Jinjo.
application of the battery?
Well, this was I don't, as far as that's concerned, the facts, the records speak for themselves. The records speak for themselves. There's records of everything that I'm saying, and Imam Furqan Muhammad can witness it, that he picked me up at the hospital, and I wasn't living in the masjid. I was living right there.
Okay. All right. Well, let me hear from Mr. Fayez. Mr. Fayez, this is what we're going to do. Mr. Corley does not have any witnesses or evidence here at this evening, but that's okay. He's still going to have an opportunity to ask you questions and any witnesses that you introduce.
Yeah.
And so what is going to happen is you are free now to ask Mr. Corley any cross-examination questions that associated with this December 8th incident based upon his testimony about what happened. And then I will give you an opportunity, if need be, to go ahead and introduce your witnesses and any testimony that you may have, you do not have to testify, but nonetheless, any testimony that you may have. And then we can make a determination about whether or not an arrest warrant should issue. So Mr. Corley, Mr. Fias is going to ask you some direct questions. I'm going to give you 5 minutes, Mr. Fias, and no more to be able to ask Mr. Corley any direct examination questions.
This ought to be
Direct
good.
examination questions are questions that are essentially direct. Isn't it true? You did this, correct? Those kinds of questions. I mean, you're free to ask open-ended questions. But this is an effort to see whether or not there's any testimony that you would like to elicit from Mr. Corley based upon his testimony. I'm going to give you that time, Mr. Fias. Mr. Corley, I would ask that you respond to Mr. Fias's questions, and we'll go from there. The floor is yours.
Mr. Corey,
Please.
the police was right there, and you told them that your hand was felt as though it was bruised, and they checked you out. They looked at you, and they didn't even. The reason why they didn't put anything to report because they realized there was nothing there. The keys that I got was trying
Well,
to.
hold
get
on,
to
wait.
you.
You're asking a really long compound question. So
Okay,
let's
I'm
shorten it
sorry.
up. What are you trying to ask
The
him?
short one was the police recognized that there was no injury to you, sir.
That's
Mr.
not
Corley, he's asking, do you admit that there's no injury to you?
that's
The
I
police-
was injured, I was hurt, and I was injured, and I don't have the keys to the house. He took the keys. We struggled,
Welcome, Jamie.
and he took the keys from me, and I doodled and pee-peed all over myself.
I guess he's being nice and not trying to use vulgar language no more than he has to. But he poo-pooed and pee-peed. My goodness. Bless his heart.
That's exactly what happened, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Fias, do you have another question for Mr.
Yeah,
Corley?
I wanted to say about the poo-poo and the doo-doo, whatever he did. There were medics there, the police was there, and the firemen. Nobody ran away because nothing was smelling. So you had some good smelling poo-poo. I want to say that much. and pee too, because you would have been
Mr. Fias,
stupid.
this isn't an
Oh, my goodness. That's a record. Some good smelling poo-poo. Wow. That doesn't happen every day. Good night.
opportunity for you to testify.
Okay.
This is an opportunity for you to ask Mr. Corley some questions.
I don't even know
Welcome.
where he got that set of keys at. I had already had the set of keys he originally had because he was not staying there since November the 20th. I don't know where he was staying. I thought he was at the man
Okay,
Farrakhan.
again, listen. Ask him a question. If you don't want to ask him any more questions,
The
that's
question,
fine.
yeah, the question is that I had.
Doing already?
I have.
Glad you could stop by.
Now, the questions don't start with I. So ask him a question.
The question is, where were you staying at all that time?
I
Where
was
were you
staying. I was staying right there at 537 Rays Road until the day of you attacking me and taking my key. Anything else other than that, you're telling not the truth. I'm telling you in your face, you are telling a lie.
My daughter
That's
was
what
there.
you're doing.
My daughter was there.
Because
Well,
you
hold on,
did-
don't talk over him, Mr. Fias. You don't need to tell him anything. You're just questioning him. Let's get a couple more questions before you complete. Do you have any other questions?
They just don't get it.
Mr. Corey, have you been butt naked several times in the kitchen in front of my daughter?
No, I haven't. That's not the truth.
And
I'm
others
a
that-
Muslim and I keep myself covered. I'm a Muslim and I keep myself covered. I've never been in the nude around there for anyone to see me. Not only your daughter, nobody, any of the people that was living, they'd never seen me in the nude because I guard my privacy. I'm a Muslim, brother.
Well, you
Welcome,
must
Maggie.
be losing your mind then because my daughter said several times that you
Nice.
and others have seen you
Who?
butt naked, not naked, but butt naked.
That's not
And
the
you
truth. You don't put
apologize.
him
Oh,
on
wait.
See, there's a difference between naked and buck naked. I'm not 100% sure what it is. I know there's the difference between naked and naked. You know, naked means you don't have clothes on. Naked means you don't have clothes on. You're up to something. You're doing something that you wouldn't want to do in the front row of the church.
Wait, guys.
You also apologize for that.
One last question, Mr. Fayez, do you have for Mr. Corey?
Okay.
Why you put him up there?
Mr. Corey, you called me and I got the voicemail, and you said to me, you said to me that everything was fine, that all you wanted to do was just, when could you
Thanks, JoJo.
pick your stuff up, Mr. Nasir, you went and pick the things up, which she called me a few times to pick your stuff up. And
That's
that was
not-
it. We had talked no other time. There was no.
You're not telling the truth, my man. I mean,
All right, well, listen, Mr. Fayez, you guys are not really asking each other questions here, so that's obviously not giving us any information for me to make a determination. So this is what I'm gonna do. Mr. Corley, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to cross-examine Mr. Fayez. Before we do that, Mr. Fayez, is there anybody that you have testimony for that knows about the incident that we're here about today? I don't need somebody being a witness. That's just a witness to your character being a good person. I need to know, is there any witness that you have this evening that can actually comment on the events that are in question this evening?
Mr. Judge,
Mhm.
Your Honor, my daughter is a witness to him being the way he was in that kitchen, so she can.
What about the battery that we're alleged? I'm not talking about.
Nobody there. Nobody there. Was him and I.
So there was nobody there, so none of your witnesses can comment to what occurred on that date of incident.
No, sir. That's correct.
And
And
what
it was not at 12 a.m. It was 7 a.m. in the morning. They have a
No,
record of
listen to
the
this.
fire department and the Bennett's.
Wait,
Have a record
Please.
of that.
hold tight.
Check the records. They can look at it.
Individuals that you intend to provide testimony for, what are they going to tell the court?
My witnesses.
Yeah, what are they gonna,
They're
why
gonna
are they
be- they're gonna
valuable to you?
Tell
To
you
your
of
case?
the havoc of trouble I've had with the gentleman, with Mr. Corey,
Okay.
and also about him, his situation and how he's talked about and told stories about other things. I
Trixie,
don't think he all
Friend?
these stories. I think he's just his mind goes like that.
Well,
He's
hold
been
on.
to-
Wait,
he's been to doctor
again,
many times.
I don't need to hear all of that. That's
Okay,
not
go ahead.
necessarily what I'm going to. What I'm again concerned about is this alleged battery that occurred on the date of incident. There are a whole lot of other issues obviously surrounding this matter, but I'm really more so concerned about the battery. I do have some other questions, but I first want to get through any evidence associated with the battery. So if the folks you plan on introducing didn't see nothing, don't know nothing, and you don't got no photos, no video, or any of this incident, then I don't know how they're really relevant to the facts associated with this incident. Can you provide me some other information to tell me why I should let them testify?
The only thing that he said was,
Well, you see what y'all did. Y'all talked about the smoke detector and how aggravating it was, and now we got a train. You know, it didn't matter what you asked for. Don't ever get it, do you?
I couldn't hear you. There was apparently a train going by.
Okay. Yeah. The only thing that they could testify, that my daughter could testify, is him being nude in the kitchen. That's the only thing.
But
Not
what
that
about this other
everybody-
individual that you claim is a caretaker?
the other individual knows Mr. Corey's character and incidents, all these incidents for over
Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah, that would be inappropriate. Okay, so this is
Good
what we're
song.
gonna do then. I'm gonna allow Mr. Corley to cross-examine you. Mr.
Oh,
Corley,
Lord.
you're gonna be able to cross-examine Mr. Fayez for 5 minutes at 7:23. I'll give you till 7:28. And then I'm gonna ask both of you some questions, and then I'm gonna allow you to do a closing statement, okay? So Mr. Corley, as I've said before, the same applies for you. For Mr. Fayez, you're free to ask him direct examination questions like didn't you, isn't it true? And clock starts now. Floor is yours, Mr. Corley, for Mr. Fayez.
okay, well, my caregiver was supposed to
No,
handle,
no, no,
but he's in the picture because
no,
That's
Mr.
what-
Corley, you're not understanding. I
What?
need you to ask Mr. Fayez questions.
where's okay, Mr. Fayez, where's my keys to the house that you took from me?
You didn't have any keys. You gave me the keys. Those keys, you must have made up a second pair of keys. You didn't have any keys, and you know that.
I,
Those keys you must
how
have been
how did I get
you
in
gave
it?
me when you left the house in
Okay,
November.
well let me ask you this question, Faiz. How did I get in and out the house? That's the first time that I was refused admittance by you. That was the first time when you attacked me. You
Because you
took
had
the keys
moved.
from me.
Because
I
you had
never was
moved.
refused.
Wait, Mr. Corley, let him answer.
Because you had moved. You were not. You no
I
longer had
didn't.
lived there.
Wait, let
In
him answer.
November, since the latter part of November, around November the 20th, is when you no longer had lived there. You hadn't paid. I told you I didn't want any money from you. So you remember that you hadn't paid, and Mr. Nasir can bear witness to that because you tried to borrow money from him.
I didn't try to borrow any money from him. That's not the truth.
You borrowed money from
Okay,
him.
well, wait, Mr. Fire.
That's not the truth.
Mr. Corley, you don't need
Yes.
to tell him that that's not the truth. I can determine whether or not I believe it or not. So do
All
you have
right.
another question for Mr. Fires?
Yeah, pretty much.
What did I do to make you attack me?
Sir, no one
That's a
attacked
good
you.
question.
That's why the policemen realized that you were not attacked. They saw everything. They found the keys in the grass. Then when you
They
had
did
pulled them
not
inside-
find the keys.
Yes, they
Mr.
They
did.
did not
Corley,
find the
if you can
keys.
allow you, please let him answer.
Okay,
The
I'm sorry,
policemen
Judge.
found
Release.
the keys in the grass. The policemen found the keys in the grass. That's on record.
Well, he
That's
didn't
on
give it
record.
to me. He didn't give
That's
them
on
to me.
record. That's on record.
Okay,
Well, how did I-
Mr. Corley, you
Yeah,
don't need
okay.
to comment after he makes every
All
answer.
right, but I don't.
Ask the question.
You don't,
Ask the
just
question.
because you
Okay.
don't like what he says doesn't mean that you need to make a whole response.
Okay, all right, Judge. All right, I see what you say.
Y'all are grown men. Y'all can listen. We all grown men right here on this screen. You can ask questions and be able to listen to what he says without immediately responding. You know why? That's why most folks end up getting, because they can't hold.
As JoJo was saying, it's really surprising how much the likes help the channel and the streams. It really is, and y'all are awesome. Don't get me wrong. I guarantee you, go to most channels and you won't see 50% likes to people. You won't, but it is surprising how well it helps, and I sure do appreciate it.
Themselves. They want to immediately respond. So let's just be a little patient with each other, right? So ask and go ahead and ask your last two questions for Mr. Fire.
Welcome.
Where? How did I get in the house? That night did you attack me? How did I get in the house?
Mr. Zero opened the door. And you,
Right.
and you said that earlier.
That's what he
that
said.
Mr. Zero opened the door. And he said, had you known that he thought you was with me, had he known, he would not open the door because he know you had already moved.
Is he still living there?
No, he's no longer there.
There's been, it's been rumored
Thank
that
y'all.
you've done the same thing to a lot of everybody that
Wait,
lives
Mr.
there.
Corley, hold tight. That's not a question. That's
Okay.
a whole testimony.
Okay, Judge. Let me ask him this question: Is Harvey still there?
Mr. Harvey is still there.
Okay. Why you didn't bring him as a witness? He was there. He came there. It was two people that came in that apartment after I moved in there. I've been in
You're
there
right,
over a year. My
Hold on,
caregiver,
Mr. Corley.
yeah.
What's your question to Mr. Fires? You're going to get an
My que-
opportunity to say what you need to say at the end. I just need you to have a question for Mr. Fires. And now you pushed yourself on.
Oh, goodness.
Last question.
Did you not say to me that I could go on in the woods, or I can go on myself, but I'm not going into your house? Did you not say that to me?
Yes, sir, because you no longer live there, sir.
Welcome.
All right. I'm going to ask a couple questions of you guys, just for information purposes. Mr. Fires, you told me that there was an agreement that you and Mr. Corley reached in order for him to vacate. When was that?
It was in November. I think I have the text in November. I had been saying it since really October. Mr. Nasir, who's considered sort of a caretaker for over 20 years, would call me and say he's looking for a place for Mr.
Hold on, listen, you're giving me a lot of background.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying that he said that
Listen, I'm gonna ask you some very simple questions. Hold tight, hold tight. This is for me. I need to know what's going on
Go ahead.
because this is also a landlord-tenant issue. So I just want to make sure that we understand what's going on. So you told me, or you're telling the court, that he voluntarily vacated the property.
That's
Is that
correct.
All right. And when did he voluntarily vacate?
It was about November the 20th.
Okay, and this
November
incident
the
happened
20th,
on
so it was
December
no
8th.
longer there.
All right, did any of his personal property still remain in this property?
No, it remains in the garage. It had been left
Okay,
his room,
okay.
but it's in the garage, and they was and several
Wait,
times.
wait.
Several times
I
they
like to
told
do
me
things in bite-sized parts, bite size. You want to give me a meal. I want a snack. Okay. Hold tight. I want a snack of info. So he apparently moved out on November 20th. Did you file a dispossessory action?
No, I didn't have to because it was voluntary.
And because it was, but he still had property in the premises.
No, he just had clothing, no property. It was all furnished. It was all my property.
But clothing is property. Did he have
Okay, so
anything else?
Yes, and they were supposed to pick it up. Mr. Nasir was supposed to pick it up a few times. That's
Okay,
correct.
and they didn't pick it up. Did he ever return the keys to you?
The keys, I didn't get those. I don't remember what happened to the keys, to be honest with you. After that incident,
So
I-
is that a
I
yes
had
or a
to-
no?
I-
Did
I
he
got the
return?
keys from
Listen to
him on
Are you
November
trying to
the-
overtalk me?
I'm not
You
trying
think
to
that
overtalk
helps you? No. So when did you get the keys back?
About November the 20th.
The same day that around the same time he vacated?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you're saying for about 2 weeks or so or more, 3 weeks, he wasn't at the property and then came back with the key to try to get in. And
Yeah,
why were you there? Do you live there as well?
Sir.
Okay, you live there as well. And all of his personal possessions that are far as physical, like his clothes, were in the garage.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yes, sir.
And no eviction was obtained, no dispossessory, no writ of
Didn't
possession.
have to do any dispossessory, nothing at all like that.
Okay, and you didn't, all right. Mr. Corley, when's the last time you slept at this house?
The night before the 8th, I was there the night before. I slept there.
Okay,
And when I came back on the 8th is when all this occurred.
all right, hold tight. Mr. Fayez, when's the last time that Mr. Corley sleep at this
In
property?
he hadn't been there since November the 20th. No one has seen him. Even the gentleman he spoke of that still lives there, Harvey.
So
No
he
one's
didn't,
seen him.
so to your knowledge, he never hasn't slept there since the 20th and been there
That's
since the
correct.
20th. Okay. All right. This is what I'm gonna do for you fellas. I'm gonna give you an opportunity to tell me, Mr. Corley, first, why you believe an arrest warrant should issue. Mr. Fayez, I'm then going to give you an opportunity to respond to that. I'm going to give each of you about 2.5 minutes. You don't have to use the 2.5 minutes if you don't need to. Of telling me why you believe Mr. Corley, the arrest warrant should issue, and Mr. Fayez, assumingly, why the arrest warrant shouldn't issue. We'll start with Mr. Corley. Mr. Corley, tell the court why this arrest warrant should be issued against Mr. Fayez.
Because he attacked me and took the keys from me, wrestled my hand.
Hey, buddy, how you doing? Is someone that could maybe help Debbie? I'm pretty sure it all depends on if your phone or on the computer. You might let everybody know. I'm sure somebody can tell you what you need to do.
Going to the doctor right now about my arm and my hand that he hurt. And I went to the hospital. I have, did the records speak for themselves? I didn't, he attacked me and hurt me. And he put me out of his house. And I haven't been back there since. All my clothes, all my medicine, I had money in the room that I never retrieved. And I haven't been back there since. That's why I think he needs to be arrested for violating the law in reference to tenants' rights. He illegally evicted me and assaulted me,
Wow.
and that's it.
All right. Mr. Fies, you have any response?
Yes. The medics were there. They were taking him to the hospital, not for any bruises or anything. They were taking him
Lenny,
to the hospital because
thank you.
he said he was sick. He didn't feel good at all. He talked to the man Furkan was on the phone. He was on the phone with him. And he wasn't sick. He wasn't going for no hand or no wrist, nothing like that. He was going because he goes to the hospital all the time. He calls the policeman and tell them that he just wants them to help get his family together. And the police asked him why they call him. That's all I wanted to say.
All right, well, a couple things. First things first. I'm not gonna make a predetermined judgment on the landlord-tenant issue, but I do have my concerns, but that's not the issue that's before us today. The issue before us is about a battery, and obviously it does involve a landlord-tenant relationship, so there does seem to be some sort of blurring of issues. But Mr. Corley, what I will tell you in the basis of this probable cause hearing effectively is that I don't have any witnesses from you, brother. I don't have no witnesses. I don't have no testimony. I don't have no physical evidence. And the police report that I read said that there were no visible injuries to you when they came and saw you. And that the reason why you went to the hospital based upon your own statement was obviously the issues of you having the defecation and urination. So with that, and wait, just let me finish. Without
Okay.
any evidence to support that there was actually an offensive touching, I really don't have any means to be able to issue an arrest warrant. And so with that, I am going to not issue an arrest warrant, and I will be dismissing the application. But
Hey,
as
Ms.
I
Mandy.
said, fellas, the landlord tenant issue is another issue that's not before me, but I got some more questions, but those questions won't be answered this evening. And with that, that'll be the order of the court, and you fellas are free to go.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Corley. Thank you, Mr. Five.
This is a good example of the kind of cases they have here. A lot of them, it's just the officers just aren't willing to do anything about it. So they try to come here, which, you know, it's hard to say what really happened. It sounds like that Mr. Corley is having might be having some problems remembering everything. It happened to a lot of us. I feel bad for him. It sounds like he does have a place to live. He could be doing like a lot of us do, just remembering where strategic bathrooms are in case you're going somewhere, so you know you can run in and make yourself feel better. You know what I mean? That's a good plan. I think about it myself. Okay, well let's keep watching.
So now,
All right, those parties in position of 5. I've got
You free to go. You can-
Lackley and Dennis. Mr. Corley, you can hit that red lead button, and so can you, Mr. Fias. And then all of the witnesses clerked for their cases may also be excused as well.
I hope not.
Yes, Judge.
I really do.
Thank you. I'm going to need to have Ronicia and Corteris. If you guys have stepped away from your laptops, I need you to come back. All right. All right, parties. I am happy to have you here. Bear with me.
Yeah, a lot of people just lonely, want somebody to talk to.
Information. I'm not sure if you, the parties were listening to what was going on in the previous matter, but what we will be doing is I'll be first getting folks under oath, and then I will be allowing the parties each to give a short opening statement about what's going on. Ms. Dennis, you will be giving obviously a statement regarding allegations that you've made specifically that there was a simple assault fear as well. Let's see, as I believe attacking the victim And there,
Thanks,
I've got
Foxtrot.
I believe it either a terroristic threat as well as a simple assault fear here. And then, and this is all have occurred on
Yeah.
January 28th, 2023. Okay. And so I just want to remind the folks, there could be a whole myriad of other background and other issues, but the court is primarily concerned about the January 28th, 2023 issue. Okay. Clerk, did you email me the evidence for Mr. Lackley? He indicated
I
that
can-
he was sending.
Yeah, when he said he sent it, I didn't get it as yet. I can check again. I don't think we got it yet.
Yeah, I don't see any
No,
evidence.
it wasn't sent in, but I do have the witness.
You do,
He's
okay.
trying to join the Zoom. He's trying to join the Zoom.
All right, and Ms. Dennis, did your witness join as well or no?
Actually, yes, I have two of them that are joining and another one that's on standby. And then I had pictures for evidence, but it wouldn't allow me to upload it in my email because the file was too large.
Laura?
And then as it goes for the video, I'll be able to upload it. I think I have the person from the company that can upload it or send it to the email.
Well, I will tell you that we're gonna have the
I don't get it. Elizabeth, you talking to me or I'm confused?
hearing this evening. And so if I don't know how long or if you're able to have
Welcome.
that stuff done, but we're about to take evidence now. So I don't know if that's a crux of what you're the evidence that you have. But if it is, and we proceed today, you're acknowledging that the court may not hear it if you don't have it. You're on mute.
I do. I just need, I guess I can give them the email because they just joined the Zoom meeting. It is my boss actually the company had the evidence, the video in their possession. So I wasn't able to send it in myself, but they can right now.
Okay, who is this person? Because I don't see them.
I have an Arlene Miller and a Marcel Valentine that are waiting to join the Zoom meeting.
You're right. Sometimes I'm slow on the uptake. Sorry.
It says that they're knocking.
Clerk, do we see that?
They're knocking.
Yes, Judge, I have both of them in the waiting room.
Okay, they're gonna be put in the waiting room. They're gonna be in the waiting room, so just hold tight. We're gonna get you guys under oath, and then if you have those folks that need to testify, we'll bring them out, okay? You understand, Ms. Dennis?
Okay.
No. All right, Mr.
Yes.
Lack, Ms. Dennis, let's go ahead and put your hands up for oath. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and a penalty and perjury of the law?
I do.
All right. So as I mentioned, you guys can put your hands down. As I mentioned before, I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to give a brief opening statement regarding the allegations that happened on January 28th, 2023. You may be able to give a brief description or background about the matter if it requires such. And then following that, I will give an opportunity for folks to go ahead and introduce any evidence, starting with Ms. Dennis, any evidence or witness testimony that she may have. Then Mr. Lackley, you'll have an opportunity to cross-examine Ms. Dennis and any witness testimony that she has provided. Then I will give you an opportunity to present any evidence that you may have, as well as any witness testimony that you may have as well. Ms. Dennis will have an opportunity to cross-examine those folks as well as you. And then following that conclusion of the evidence, I will go ahead and let folks give a short closing, and then I will make a determination on whether or not an arrest warrant should be issued. All right, with that, Mr. Lackley, you can go ahead and put yourself on mute. I'm going to go ahead and hear from Ms. Dennis. The time is 7:41. Ms. Dennis, I'm going to give you till about 7:43, 44 to give us some background about this matter. Go ahead.
Okay. He and I, Mr. Lackley and myself, work together. I am his GM of the store, so I did hire him and was training him. I came back that night to help him close the store up. It wasn't my shift, but I did it because that's a part of my job and supervising everybody. So I came back to help him. I simply gave him work instructions to unload a truck, He didn't like it. He got really hostile at work and aggressive the way he was talking to me, snapping and clapping behind my head while I was speaking to another employee. And I tried to reach out to several different managers that just weren't unavailable at the time. So when I got on the phone with another district manager to ask how I could handle the case, he was still being really intrusive, like in the background. So I stepped outside the store into my car and I held that conversation. He stepped out of the store. He stood outside of we have cameras in the inside of the store and along the outside of the building. He stood out of the view of the cameras that were in the building that would have saw him just looking at me, glaring at me while I was in the car. He grabbed his things. He stood there for several minutes. I told the person named Arlene Miller, the witness that I was on the phone with at the time, I didn't feel comfortable, so I'm going to just go back inside the building because I didn't want to be stared at while I was having that conversation on how to deal with the situation. When I got out the car, I didn't make it past my front tire. He approached me, we outside, what's up now, bitch? And started punching me in my face, attacking me, throwing me on the ground. I was wearing glasses at the time, so he definitely beat the frames out of both of my glasses. He pulled my hair out. I have very long locks.
I'm a very happily married man, but what she's wearing is very distracting.
And he pulled several of them out. So my evidence, everything was caught on a video on the side of the store, the side store's camera, which he didn't know was there, clearly, because he tried to attack me where nobody would see. Unfortunately, it took a while before a bystander pulled him off of me. I tried to call 911 because when I was on the phone with the person I was talking to, Arlene Miller, that call got ended. I think she ended it so she can call 911 because she could hear everything that was going on. I tried to call 911. I did make the call. They asked me where I was. He hung my phone up and proceeded to attack me. So I called them again, multiple times until I got somebody on the phone. The attacker pulled them
That last word in there, man, it's because I'm a man. That's what we're programmed to do.
up off of me. He jumped in, I guess, a Lyft or Uber. I'm not sure what that was, but he had called a ride. He jumped in before he got in it. He turned around, taunting, that's why I beat your ass. I blacked your eye. And that grown man to a woman gets in the car and drives off. I got in mine and I took a picture of the license plate so that I could give it to the police for wherever he was going to.
That's
But all
sweet.
of those things were caught on camera. I have pictures of all of my injuries. I just couldn't.
Okay, y'all, Andrew's here. Ixnay on the Andrew A. Okay, we got to talk about somebody else, okay? Oh, hey, Andrew.
Upload it in the email. So if I could screen share, I could. But that was what happened there. I didn't get to go to the paramedics, unfortunately. I didn't think that was the best decision for myself because I'm a single parent with 6 kids. So I wasn't even supposed to be there that night. I was just coming. There was no way I could sit in the emergency room or take longer with my kids at home by themselves. So.
Okay. All right, Mr. Lackley, I'm gonna let you go ahead and give your statement about what occurred on that day.
All right. So, prior to that encouragement or that engagement to what me and her had, she got into an altercation with another coworker previous to me coming in that shift. She gave me attitude that day, and I tried to just leave her alone. And then I was like, can I get the key so I can close the store? She refused to give me the key. So I was like, okay, well, the store will be open. And so she came back later that night, still with an attitude. And I was like, okay, Ronisha, what do you need me to do? She gave me an attitude and she told me to clock out. So I clocked out, but before I clocked out and left the building, she ran out the building. And I guess that's what she did, was call somebody. I clocked out, left, and called my ride. And then she started cursing me out, as you could hear on the camera that they said they have from her evidence as well. She was cussing me out, and I approached her because, of course, I feel, threatened. And I also have emails to her boss 2 weeks prior to saying that she has been harassing me. As
Yeah, Andrew, you got to back up and watch that first bit. You're gonna kick yourself not being there for that.
well. And she also left the store unattended with only one coworker there, not a manager. And she followed me home, and she got to a red light, and she said, "I know where you live, bitch. Don't worry about it." And she proceeded to actually turn off the street. And I have my witness waiting to join as well.
Okay. All right. All right. So Miss Dennis, if that's your opening, Mr. Lackley, that's fine. Miss Dennis, tell me, did you want to go ahead and introduce the witness that you have now or any evidence that you have now? You're on mute.
Yes, Arlene Miller, the person I was on the phone with at the time of the attack,
Okay.
she is available, and as well as mm,
No, that's fine. Let's bring in Arlen Miller first. We'll bring them in one at a time. Clerk, if we can bring in Miss Miller, if she's there.
Yes, Judge.
Miss Miller, can you go ahead and turn your camera on?
Farron, thanks for the memberships. It's real nice of you.
Howard Miller, can you turn your camera on?
Yes.
Miss
I mean,
Dennis,
even
I'm just
his
waiting for
too.
the
He's just
person
in a
to,
white
turn their
t-shirt, you
camera
know?
on. Miller? Miller?
Yeah, I dress nicer than that just to do a live white t-shirt, like something Mike could wear. Y'all make sure you tell him I said that.
Right. Ma'am, I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Are you on a, let me tell you something. You sound, looks like you got headphones in. Zoom don't work really well with headphones. So unmute yourself for me, please. Say something for me, please.
Can you hear me?
There you go. All right. So let me just tell you, let me catch you up so you know what's going on. I'm going to get you under oath. Ms. Dennis has called you as a witness to testify regarding the subject of this particular application hearing. All right.
Okay.
Now, just want to make you aware, when you testify, Mr. Lackley is going to also have an opportunity to cross-examine you. Okay. So just after you get to give your testimony from Ms. Dennis, doesn't mean you get to go immediately. He's going to have an opportunity to cross-examine you. So let me do this. Let me get you to raise your right hand.
Yeah, thanks for the gifted memberships. I sure do appreciate it. We're going to turn it green today, ain't we?
You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, under penalty and perjury of the law?
I do.
Excellent. Put your hand down. All right, now, Ms. Dennis, you get to ask her not cross-examination questions. They're going to be essentially open questions, so you cannot leave. You essentially have to ask her questions about what she knows, not telling her what she knows. Do you understand the difference?
yes.
All right. Well, the floor is yours. I'm going to give you 5 minutes not depose her, but ask her any questions. Okay, so go on ahead. 7:40.
When I made the phone call to you on January the 28th, do you remember what it was about?
Yes.
Could you please tell the judge why I called you?
Okay. I was either the fourth or fifth person that was called that day. She was given instructions from her district manager, Marcel Valentine, that whenever she had to have any kind of interaction with, I don't know his name, that she needs to reach out to one of
Laura, thanks for the memberships. That was nice of you. Y'all are killer. Y'all are awesome.
her peers to be a witness to whatever happened, or to the conversation. I'm sorry, be a witness to the conversation. So when she called me, I was either the fourth or fifth person that she had called, but I happened to answer the phone. I think I was call number 5. And I asked her, hey, what's going on? She said, hey, can you stay on the phone with me because I have to go inside my store? And I said, okay, no problem. And I didn't think much of it. I was just in the house nursing my baby.
Yeah, that's what it
Do I need
sounds
to
like.
tell what happened during the call?
Yes, can you tell them what happened when I went into the vehicle? when I was in my car talking to you.
Okay. So right before she got into her vehicle, I'm the one that instructed her to go to her vehicle. When she called me, she said that she was going inside the store and she needed me to be on the phone. So I was on the phone with her. When she got inside the store, I remember her saying that
Hey, Pete.
there was truck left in the back room that needed to be put up, and there were two associates inside the store. And when she said to them, "Hey guys, we got to go ahead and get this truck work. There's a truck. Tomorrow is Sunday. It's a new week." One of the guys started working the truck, but I could hear somebody else in the background. And I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on here. Can I say what was said
If it's
or no?
testimony, sure.
Okay.
Hey, Miss Rose. That'd
She
be a
said,
great
"Hey, we got to
idea.
get this truck work tomorrow, Sunday." I heard, "Fuck you, bitch. I don't have to listen to you." And that's when I was like, "Ooh, what's going on?" And she said, "Excuse me." And I heard, "You heard me, bitch. I don't have to listen to you. Fuck you." I said to her, "Get out of the store right now." And as she's walking out of the store, it's cold outside. She got inside her truck. I remember her getting inside her truck because it was cold outside. And I said, "I don't know what's going on inside your store right now, but you cannot talk to him. That's unacceptable. You need to go ahead and get him out of your store." So we were
Yep.
talking about how to go ahead and conduct the write-up to get him terminated. And she said to me, "He's clocking out and walking out the door. It looks like he's leaving the store. I'm gonna have to go and close my store." And I said, "Yeah, definitely, because you can't, leave your store unclosed." When she was open, I heard the truck door open. She was getting out the truck. Next thing you know, I could hear, like, I'm on the phone with her. I could hear him running towards her saying, "We're outside now, bitch." And next thing you know, he just started fighting her. While this was going on, the phone disconnected. I tried to call her back. She didn't answer. I called her district manager, told him to get up there to her store. I dialed 911 and I jumped inside my car.
Ms. Dennis, do you have any other questions for Ms. Miller?
No, I don't.
Okay. Mr. Lackley, do you have any cross-examination questions for Ms. Miller?
No, sir.
Okay. Ms. Miller, I appreciate your time here this evening. You are free to go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Dennis, do you have any other witnesses that you seek to call this evening?
Should be a Marcel Valentine.
All right. Clerk, if there's a Marcel there, can we bring him out? All right. Mr. Valentine, if you can unmute yourself and turn your camera on for us, I greatly appreciate it.
Sure makes you think.
All right, Mr. Valentine, let me just make sure that you understand what's going on and get you caught up. This is a legal proceeding. We are here to see whether or not you can provide any evidence regarding a particular event. Ms. Dennis will be asking you some questions. If she asks you some questions, Mr. Lackley is going to have an opportunity to cross-examine you, okay? So I just want to make sure that you understand what's going forward. I'm going to get you under oath. And when I get you under oath, after I get you under oath, Ms. Dennis will ask you questions. And again, then Mr. Lackley will ask you questions. Do you understand, sir?
Yes,
All right. Let me get you to raise your right hand. Swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, under penalty and perjury of the law.
I do.
All right. Ms. Dennis, this witness is yours.
Okay. Marcel, do you or could you explain to the judge what type of relationship or concerns I had with Quatarius?
There was some opportunity with behavior issues such as insubordination, and those have been documented. Those type of issues with bad behavior.
Okay, and also once on January the 28th, during the incident that happened, were you able to look at the video surveillance
Yes,
of the incident?
yes,
And was that on camera?
yes.
Could you please tell the judge what you saw? Because I haven't seen the video myself.
I saw you leave the building, exit the premises. A couple of moments after that, Quatarius exit the premises, to which then there was no video. I mean, there was no audio. So you could see that you was inside your vehicle. Quatarius was outside, posted on the building. When you exit your vehicle, Quatarius approached you, and then there became a physical altercation.
Could you tell the judge whether or not you saw Quatarius attack me or me attack him?
No, it was clear. Quatarius did attack you.
Okay, and did we submit that video to the DeKalb County Police?
I am not aware of that.
Is that video available for the courts at any time?
I do not have that video in possession. That would be something that asset protection could probably answer more conclusive on that. I don't have it in my possession, but I'm pretty sure that's something they could obtain.
And did the company find Quatarius to still be employable after that incident?
I do not know from that matter.
Okay.
Any other questions, Ms. Dennis?
No.
All right, Mr. Lackley, any questions for Mr. Valentine?
Yes, sir. Mr. Marcel, did I or did I not email you a couple days prior to this incident saying that she has been harassing me, and you stated that she would never do that, and I've been calling you daily about her behavior?
We did have a conversation. There was a mention of harassment. I would have to go back and look at the details of the email to see what actually was said. You did mention that to me, so
Thanks,
yes,
Andrew.
I am aware of that.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Any redirect, Ms. Dennis?
Sure, Marcel, is there any record or
Georgia.
mention in harassment of any physical altercations, attack, or attempts from myself to Mr. Quatarius, if you can recall?
No, nothing that I've got was related to physical.
Anything that mentioned he was in fear of his safety?
No.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Valentine. I appreciate your testimony. You're free to go.
All right. Thank you.
Right. Ms. Dennis, do you have any other witnesses?
No.
Okay. All right, but before I get Mr. Lackley to introduce any of his, I'm going to give him an opportunity to cross-examine you. Now, when I let folks cross-examine,
No, I had a witness. His name is Deshaun. He was
we're
trying
gonna
to.
get to it, but you're gonna first be able to, if you so desire, cross-examine Ms. Dennis. So do you have any questions for
Yeah.
Ms. Dennis?
You should.
Of course not.
Respectful questions, obviously.
No, Your Honor.
No? Okay. All right, well then, Mr. Lackley, you said you have a witness. Are they here? Are they in the breakout room?
He is.
What's
He's
his-
waiting to be entered. Deshaun.
All right, can we have Deshaun? What? Or D? D, can you turn on your camera and unmute? The letter D, can you turn on your camera and unmute? Can you please turn on your camera and unmute? Otherwise, we'll be unable to get your testimony.
Like herding cats.
All right. Sir, can you unmute?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good. What's your name, sir?
It's Deshaun Harvey.
Okay, Mr. Harvey. Can you do me a favor? Can you just find a place just to like post up for a second? Just like that. I appreciate you. Listen, I just want to catch you up, okay? Mr. Lackley is going to be asking you some questions, all right, regarding a particular event. And then after he asks you some questions, Ms. Dennis is going to ask you some questions or have an opportunity to do so, all right? And then after they ask you their questions, you'll be free to go, okay?
All right.
All right, let me get you under oath though, so make sure you're testifying truthfully and honestly. Can I get you to raise your right hand? You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, under penalty and perjury of the law?
I do.
All right, Mr. Lackley, this witness is yours. I'll give you about 4 or 5 minutes.
All right. So,
Welcome.
Deshaun, have I been talking to you about how horrible of a boss she's been and how she's been harassing all of us, not just
You
me?
did talk to me about it. Yeah, you did talk to me about it.
Right. Have I talked to you about how I was feared every time she'd take me to the back of the office?
You did tell me about that, yeah.
Right. Okay. That's all I have.
Okay. Ms. Dennis, do you have any questions for Mr. Deification?
Sure.
Yeah.
Are there cameras equipped in the back office
Yeah. Luckily, the judge is smart enough to realize it ain't going to get him nowhere if he brings it up. Just let it happen and move on.
where such fear takes place?
Yes, sir. The camera's back there with one camera.
Is it always recording, or are you able to stop it?
It's always recording, yeah.
Okay. And during the incident, where were you actually at the time that the attack happened?
In the back of the store.
So you didn't get a chance to see anything.
No.
Okay. Earlier that day, did you remember me approaching Quaterius in an aggressive manner, like I was going to attack him physically or threatening him?
No, I don't remember you approaching him aggressively.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember me threatening his safety?
No, ma'am.
Okay. That's all.
All right.
Yeah.
Any redirect, Mr. Lackley?
No, Your Honor.
All right, well, Mr. Sean, you're free to go, sir. I appreciate your time here.
No problem.
All right. You're free to go. All right, so this is what we're going to do. Ms. Dennis, do you have any questions for Mr. Lackley?
No, I do not.
Okay, so let's go ahead. If we have no other evidence to introduce, I have heard from your witnesses. Ms. Dennis, I'm going to give you about until about 8:05, 8:06 to tell us why an arrest warrant should issue. And Mr. Lackley, obviously you'll respond in
Looks that way.
the opposite of why one should not issue, assuming. But nonetheless, Ms. Dennis, you can go ahead and start. The floor is yours.
Okay, I definitely think an arrest warrant should be issued because he in fact attacked me. There is evidence from my body, from the camera, and it was a senseless attack. I don't think that somebody like that should just, walk the streets freely without consequences, especially when that's a grown man attacking a mother. Anybody attacking anybody is wrong, but especially that at the workplace. It doesn't give a sense of security to anyone if I can't go to work and make money and still have to worry about being attacked, then he's liable to do that to somebody else that he worked with, especially if he would do it to his own boss.
Okay. Mr. Lackley?
I feel like I shouldn't because I was being harassed 2 weeks prior, and she pushed me to that breaking point. And I've always told everybody something needs to be done, and nobody ever viewed anything of it being done. And I just broke, and I just lashed out. But I
You
do
just
understand
admitted
that
to
that
it,
was
big
not
boy.
right. And I've honestly never done it before. I don't have a record of it. I apologize about it.
Yeah.
All right, well, the court's going to say this first. Obviously, we all have issues with our bosses, but people are going to get into disagreements. But obviously, when the buck stops is when things become physical, right? And so, allegations, sir, of harassment prior that didn't lead to any type of arrest application or calling, obviously, is not something that we're considering today. We're considering about the issue that happened on the 28th. And so we've got evidence that was presented that you did have unlawful touching to Ms. Dennis. That then puts me in a position to say whether or not an arrest warrant should be issued. I understand that you've apologized. But my job here today, again, is to determine whether or not probable cause for an arrest warrant to be issued, not the guilt of the situation. I am not in any way issuing any type of judgment or sentence. But what I will be doing, sir, in lieu of the allegations that have been made and the evidence has been presented, I am going to issue an arrest warrant. Now, let me tell you how this goes. Ms. Dennis, well, let me ask you, Mr. Lackley, do you still work for Items?
No, sir.
And do you have any normal interactions with Ms. Dennis, or do you see her on a normal basis?
No, Your Honor.
So what I'm going to do is this. You're going to get what's called a UJR. You're not going to have to pay any bond to be released, and you should be released within the same day, or you very well will be released the same day. But let me tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to issue an arrest warrant. I'm going to give you an opportunity to turn yourself in. Within that arrest warrant, Ms. Dennis, you're going to have to sign for it, as well as the special conditions that I issue, because I'm going to do a stay away with you regarding Lackley. So Mr. Lackley is not going to be able to be around, texting, no calling, no going around, internet messages. All right. Week to turn yourself in. Okay. And the reason for that is because first, Ms. Dennis must sign any application and for your arrest and warrant. And she must also sign the special conditions as well. Again, today is the 27th. I am going to give you, Mr. Lackley, until I believe that was the next Tuesday, the 4th. Ms. Dennis, I'm going to need you to come in no later than the 29th to turn yourself to sign the paperwork. My clerk as well is going to email you folks instructions about what you should do. Let me tell you now, Mr. Lackley, you're going to be turning yourself in down off the courthouse off of Memorial Drive. Do not go to the jail first. If you go to the jail first, they're going to hold you. You are to go to the court first. They'll get all of your stuff fingerprinted, and then they will take you to get your process. As I said before, I'm going to be issuing a bond order already for what's called a UJR, an unsecured judicial release. That means you're not going to be required to put up any financial, any monies or any other means to be released, but you are going to have a special condition of a stay away from Ms. Dennis. Okay? As I said before, just because you're arrested or turned yourself in does not mean you are guilty. It is going to be on the solicitor's office to take this case further beyond the arrest. All right? Does everybody understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Dennis?
Yes.
All right. Clerk, do we have both their emails to email them instructions about what they should do regarding this matter?
I have Ms. Dennis' email. I just sent Mr. Lackley a chat. If he can send me his email in the chat.
Mr. Lackley, it is imperative that you provide us with your communication. What we don't want to happen, Mr. Lackley, is that you don't turn yourself in by the 4th, and Ms. Dennis signs the warrants.
Gracie, hate to hear that. I hope everything works out. You'll be in our prayers, that's for sure.
And then you are riding around with an arrest warrant. It's not what you want. Because okay, I just want to tell folks that police seem to come at you at the most odd times. You'll be like, man, I'm just driving down the street. Next thing you know, they'll hit your license plate and they'll see that you have an outstanding warrant, and they will pull you over and they will arrest you. So I just want to make sure. But again, I'll give you to the 4th, Ms. Dennis, to the 29th to go ahead and sign that up. Clerk, did you get that email address from Mr. Lackley yet?
I did, Judge. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Lackley, my clerks will be emailing you as well as Ms. Dennis on instructions. And you guys have a blessed one, and you guys are excused.
Ain't that the truth?
Let me
I'm sorry.
tell Ms. Hardy.
You got
Ms.
one
Hardy,
more.
I don't know if you've been waiting, but
I
as
thought
I
we were
said
done.
before, you're going to need to contact the clerk's
Good.
office with confirming that address. So I know you were waiting around, but I just want to remind you that that's what we would need from you in order for us to proceed.
Yes, I contacted them. I'm being pretty much this whole process, just getting the runaround. So I'm assuming
Not
it's just
trying to give you the runaround, but I do have a responsibility to make sure. a
yeah,
couple
I know.
of things-
I'm more so referring to the police department because I had to contact the Gwinnett County Police Department. They
Yeah, I agree. At least he admitted it. I mean, as y'all said, that gives him a little bit of credit. Most things like this, they'll probably get pled down to next to nothing. We see them every day. Um, I don't doubt she was rough on him, as far as picking at him or whatever. But you can't turn to violence. Goodness, most people learn that in kindergarten. That's the second or third time you get in trouble and got to sit in timeout for a while. You get that in your head. You realize can't do that. It's a shame, but like I said again, it's at least he admitted what he did. So hopefully he'll get it turned around.
in turn told me an officer called me and said that they don't handle that. I would have to
Let me
contact.
ask you a question. Just, did this
Mhm.
happen in DeKalb?
Yes,
Why is Gwinnett involved? Oh, because he lives.
because
in-
that's the address. Yes,
Hold on.
and in order
Did the
to
event,
verify,
did the event occur in DeKalb? Right.
yeah,
Okay. But you're saying he now lives in Gwinnett.
yes.
Okay.
And they're
Yeah.
telling me to contact the sheriff's department, but also telling me that typically they don't handle this.
Yeah.
I don't call for this. Typically the courts have to call for it, but they're also handling that disclaimer. We don't know what DeKalb County does.
Yeah, I
So
get that. That's Gwinnett. Well, I don't see how DeKalb County couldn't confirm the address, but we'll possibly call DeKalb County. I don't know, but if you're saying and contact the clerk's office after all of your efforts, we can try to see what we can do to confirm, and then we'll go from there. But again, I'm not taking it off
I think you're
the
right.
calendar. I'm just going to have it reset. Okay, but I want to give you an opportunity to confirm with the clerk's office. So it'll be on you to call the clerk's office and say, look, this is the best address I have. This is what I've received. Please resend notice. And if after that, right, we're good, then look, we did the best we can. And then if he doesn't appear, then we're just gonna proceed.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do have a quick question though. Because the Trillium is the only address I have, which is the Gwinnett address. He has been reaching out through his mother to get me to bring the children to her, to that home, that address. Is there another way outside of just knowing, like just saying, oh, I brought my children there?
Any other evidence? Yeah, I mean, obviously bringing your children there doesn't necessarily.
Is that
indicate
enough
is there.
for
Not
for me
just
to be
saying
able to
that you
say,
bring the children there. I mean, that in and of itself isn't always indicative, but
Okay.
if there's something that you can just confirm, that's all. And if you say, look, I saw him there, he's lived there, Yana, we've checked again, we've gone through this process, I brought the kids there, I've seen it. Then you contact the clerk's office. If that's what we have, we'll put you on the back of the calendar. We'll take that in consideration.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna hear the next case. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Maurice Barbera. All right. So bear with me. Hey, good evening. So let me tell you what we're going to do with your matter, because obviously we do not have Mr. Elliott here.
Okay.
It appears that we have a good address for Mr. Elliott. All right. First, I'm going to pull up your warrant. I'm going to obviously get you under oath. I'm going to allow you to present some testimony about what's going on. Obviously, no one will be here to cross-examine you. And any witnesses that you have obviously will be testifying without any objection. But just because you're presenting it on your own does not in and of itself mean that I'm going to immediately grant your warrant. I still must hear the evidence to determine whether or not there's sufficient probable cause. All right, so bear with me. And just to confirm, Mr. Barbara, this incident that you're referring occurred on January 23rd. Is this 2023 or 2021?
It's been a long process. It's been going on since 2021.
Okay, see that, so, okay. All right, so since 20, so you don't have anything recent, or you're saying, when's the last time?
The last time was at the gym on February the 18th.
Okay, all right, let's see what we got going. Let me get you under oath. You swear, affirm, and tell the truth, the whole truth, under penalty and perjury of law?
I do.
All right, I just want to confirm you filed this application. Let me see here. I see the judge signed it back on. Well, one of the judges signed it. Well, I'm sorry, you filed this on December 22nd, 2022.
That is correct.
And so what event, just so I understand, because you have 2021, and that doesn't really, we're not going to go over every event from 2021 to 2023, sir. It's not going to happen.
Well, the reason I mentioned it, it's been an ongoing process since January 2021.
So what event specifically led to you then subsequently filing this application? What was the quote unquote proverbial straw that broke the camel's back? Because obviously this has been happening since 2021. You must not have been that offended in 2020, in 2021 before December 2022. So help me understand what took it over.
I mean, it is, as I mentioned, it's literally been an ongoing process. Just to go to court and trying to file a TPO was a process for me. The judge was able to accommodate for 3 months, then he stopped, and he continued the same madness. December.
Okay, so let me organize it then. So what I'm going to do then is, I know you've got evidence. You don't have any witnesses, so I'm going to give you an opportunity here just to tell the court, obviously in a short, succinct, maybe I'm going to give you 5 minutes to tell me this history of harassment that you have with Justin Elliott. Tell me. Go ahead.
So January 23rd, 2021, he literally came to the house. I didn't allow him. He broke down into the property. I told him to leave. He refused to get into a physical battle. When I called the cops, he literally left. That was the first incident, and it just kept occurring every other day, which I have documented several times. Called the cops again. They told me that I couldn't do anything, that I needed to file a TPO, which I have done. The judge issued it for 3 months. 3 months came back, then it was dismissed because he was behaving properly. On December, I think, 15, returning from my trip in Mexico, came back, the house was vandalized, removed the video camera surveillance, took it with him. December 29th, my vehicle was the same way. He follows me everywhere I go, broke into the car, smashed everything, and just left. I called the cops the same way also. January the 18th was the last incident at the gym. I was working out. He just came in and told me that he would F me up, that he would damage everything that I have and destroy me.
And you said, when did that occur? Where did that occur? Your house or?
At the gym, at the fitness gym, sports.
Okay. Hold on here. And you sent the court quite a bit of evidence here.
Pretty much, yeah. And there's also different files that I couldn't send because they were pretty much large files.
Okay. Is this a friend, family member? What's your relationship to this individual?
I met him in 2018, became good friends, courted, did some business together. I think the moment I told him that it was no longer working out between us, he just became very violent, obsessed, and just a nuisance.
Okay, give me 1 second here. I see you sent me, I'm just going through the various things. You did send quite a bit. So what specifically in the evidence that you provided supports the harassment? Because I just looked at one video and I just saw he was in the home or in a home. I didn't see anything else.
Property, if you listen to the video, you will hear me mentioning several times, you need to leave, and he refused it. I would call the cop and he was still there. Numerous times it was the same conversation. He came every other day, block my driveway, doesn't allow me to go to work. When I'm leaving, sometimes he catch me with some of my colleagues or some clients at a restaurant, different places, and he does exactly the same thing.
Does this person live there?
In my property?
Yeah, does he live in
No.
the property?
Oh, no.
Okay, so he never lived there with you?
No, never lived here.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I know you're saying you're telling him to leave here. How did he get in the property when you're showing me some of these videos?
He will literally follow me. Sometimes he's hiding behind the bushes, and sometimes I'm trying to open the door. He would just make himself notice and just kind of push me in and just trying to have a conversation. When I'm asking him to leave politely, he will literally refuse. And sometimes he just keep holding me there for like 30, 45 minutes until he just decides to leave when I call the cops.
Hold on. I'm looking at some of the videos, sir. Hold on.
Sure.
Hold on. This one looks quite. All right, I'm gonna share the screen just
Yeah,
to
it's
confirm
scary.
what you're talking about here.
Sure.
All right, so can you see my screen?
It's exactly me. I'm sitting in the car. He's blocking my way and
So
doesn't-
tell me, when was this taken?
As far as the date and time, that was 20. I don't recall exactly.
And where did this occur? Was this your home?
Yeah, this is my home, correct?
Is this in
Yeah.
DeKalb?
That is correct.
All
My property, it's blocking my car and doesn't want to get out of the property.
right. Hold tight. Let me see some others. Okay.
Please.
Yeah, I agree, Carrie. That the way he blocked
You
him
have
in,
one
that's
that kind
serious.
of gives a clear indication of his behavior. I know you sent about 11 different videos.
Yeah, all of them do, to be quite frank. There's one when he's sitting inside the property. It's at my property. I asked him to leave several times. He explained his name is Justin Elliott, and he's still here. Justin C.
And that has no pictures. Hold on. What's the most recent video you have? You sent me several.
To be quite frank, I don't recall. I know the last incident, like as I mentioned, I even tried to subpoena the information from the gym was on February the 18th.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is 2021. You gotta give me something recent, man. This is July.
I think so.
There are court documents that he's supposed to be 200 feet away, and he still managed to approach me.
Okay. And how long has that TPO been in place? Is it still in place?
It is.
Yeah, it's
You
scary.
said the TPO is still in place?
It's correct.
Okay, did you get a 12-month TPO or you just have a temporary?
It's a non-contact.
A
There's a
non-contact,
language barrier
how did you
here.
get the non-contact?
Between my attorney and his attorney to sign it.
Okay. And when was that signed?
December the 5th or the 6th.
Of 2022?
That is correct.
All right, hold on. I'm just going through the remainder of your video.
Sure.
I think he's trying to swear out a warrant for the guy's arrest. So it takes a little more than a TPO. That video that he showed with him blocking him in, that'd have probably done it for me as far as a TPO.
And just notice this, like he came back into my house and trying to.
All right. So this is what I'm gonna do, Mr. Barber. my concern is you've got a lot of videos, a lot of them are from 2021. I mean, that's more than a year or so ago. And then you're telling me that in December, you've already got almost a permanent restraining order. I don't see any calls. I do see him coming by. I did see that event. But again, that was in 2021. And many of the videos that you presented to the court were from 2021. I mean, we're now dealing in 2023. When's the last time you seen this person?
February the 18th, 2023.
Okay. And how did you see this person?
I was working on my legs. He just approached me and just started screaming and said he would F me up. I didn't have no way to reach on my phone. It happened very quick. Those are just typical moments on a weekly basis, to
Did
be
he get
honest.
served with the TPO that you know of?
My apologies.
Did he get served with the TPO that you
That is-
know?
Yes, he did.
But you don't have any evidence with me to indicate that he came on February 28th to say and F you up.
But I've tried to subpoena the information, so I'm not sure if the court was able to.
And you're saying he violated the TPO. Did you call the police about the violation of the TPO?
I did.
Okay. And what happened about that?
But they told me until he gets caught in the act, there's nothing that they can do. I just have to continue calling.
Wouldn't have probable cause for the arrest.
Right.
So this is what I'm going to do, Mr. Barber. You got the TPO. Mr. Elliott is not here, and I don't have any evidence from anything recently. And the thing that you're telling me most recent that's happened, I don't have any evidence of, and you're telling me as well that you've already achieved a TPO. I'm sorry.
It's a non-contact.
I understand, and that's good.
Evidently, the gym does have it, but they're not willing to just give it to him. He needs to subpoena it. If he can subpoena the video, that might be enough. But this is swearing out a warrant for someone's arrest. It takes a little more than what it takes to get a TPO.
Nothing that I would produce outside of a stay away order would be any more per se effective. But again, more importantly about the probable cause of your events, a year ago, I'm just not going to be able to support. Not when you've got a TPO and the only evidence that you have is really from 2021. You haven't given me any evidence of 2022, anything, 2023. Like I'm trying to ask you for information about it. You tell me February, but you don't have a witness. You don't have any evidence.
I've actually, Your Honor, my apologies. On December, like I said, I've contacted the police when he burglarized the property.
Yeah. But so what evidence do you have that he burglarized the property? Did they do an arrest warrant? I mean,
He left the property. There is no way he took the camera and the portal at the same time. If a burglar came into the house, there's a lot of luxury things here, they would have taken it.
I get that. I don't jump to conclusions. But what I'm saying to you is I don't even see that incident report filed as evidence. I do see a video where you show some broken glass, but I don't see a report or anything of that nature regarding that incident, and he's identified as the suspect.
He was sent to the court. December the 15th and the incident on December the 29th. They were both sent to the court as far as the police report.
What do you mean sent to the court? You sent them to the court?
Right.
Okay. And he didn't get arrested from any of those, did he?
No. What they told me is I needed to file for warrant in order for them to proceed.
That's normally the case in most of these. If you have enough, you take it to a police officer and they'll move on it. But if you don't have enough information or enough proof, and it's a shame, sometimes some people get really hurt because they don't have enough proof. right off the bat. It's a shame. That guy's dangerous.
Clerk, do you have this arrest warrant from December? I see text, I see video
Yeah.
from 2021.
I will probably have to go through all the evidence he submitted to find it.
Yeah, I've looked, sir. I don't see any. I've looked through 1 through 11, and the only one I don't see is 11 through 11.
I send them all. If you allow me again, I can resend them if there was a mistake done.
Well, you sent 11 things. The only one I don't see, clerk, is 11 of 11. He's apparently.
Yeah, because one that was a duplicate, so I didn't bother.
I see. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, Mr. Barber, I don't see any of the police reports. This is what I'm going to do. Mr. Elliott, regardless of him not being here, you can proceed as parte. But I don't see enough evidence here of harassment, at least within the last year, at least as far as the evidence is concerned. Furthermore, you have a TPO no contact order. Beyond that, I just don't have enough evidence of culmination of harassment within recently, particularly when you're telling me many of the events outside of the one where he did park his car in front of you. But again, that's 2021. There's a lot of videos where you show him in your home and you guys are recording each other. You recording him, he's recording you. And so I just don't necessarily believe that finds a probable cause.
And as documents, Your Honor, on 2022. If you do go through them, you actually will see the date when he will park in front of the property, when even my neighbor will see him. And
no, I saw that. I understand what the potential intimidation associated from that. But again, 2022 win. It looked pretty sunny outside on that picture.
So, Your Honor, would you allow me to resend the documents as far as the police report on that?
But no arrest warrant was issued from the burglary, was it?
They couldn't. And that's
because they didn't have any evidence that it was actually him. Do you have any evidence that he was the one who committed the burglary?
They told me that they will run the investigation and will keep me posted, and they're still doing the investigation as of today.
Well, I don't have any more evidence than they do, so I don't understand how I can make a better determination on a burglary than they would. What evidence do you have to confirm that he actually committed the burglary?
That's pretty much all the information that I have so far.
Listen, and again, it's not that the court is not acknowledging that there were some acts that may have happened in 2021, but since that time, the culmination of events that you provided to me don't seem to raise to that level. Now, again, you have a TPO, so that is also something that you subsequently desired and requested, and the court has granted that. But as far as this arrest warrant on these allegations from 2021 through current, the pattern is choppy, and it's a lot of dates spread over a lot of time, and some of them seem to be where there is an almost mutual invite, and others don't. And I don't know if that rises to the level of harassment at this juncture. I don't see any text messages. I don't see any calls. Don't see any. I see text messages, but nothing that seems to be harassment that you've sent. So the court's not going to issue an arrest warrant. Doesn't mean that if he commits another bad act or there's something where he violates the TPO, he cannot be arrested. But because he has a TPO, if he violates it, I know you're saying that he violated it here recently, but I've got to have some evidence of it. I can't just do things just because you say so. You see what I'm saying?
It's unfortunate because, as I say, it's like I feel like I have no right as of today. It's she say, he says, when I'm proving to the court that he's been harassing me, documented, it doesn't matter if it has been a year or not. It's literally been proven all the time that the person has come to my property, followed me everywhere, continued to harass me. And you telling me today that there is no probable cause, it just kind of just.
Let me just tell you, because I want you to understand what I'm saying. I'm telling you that many of the videos that you show of him videotaping you and videotaping in your home seem to be something that, based upon your testimony, you're saying that, hey, he was around and I let him in. That's not harassment. Him parking outside of your home, maybe, but again, all we have is a car parked outside of your home. The best evidence that I've seen that you presented to me today for any harassment was the one time he parked his car in front of yours and then filmed you. Didn't make any harassing, didn't make any threats. Now, that's not required, but that was 2021.
Your
This
Honor,
is now 2023. I don't see any other clear acts. I don't see anything with the burglary because we don't have any evidence confirming. But again, what the court's going to do, I'm going to deny the warrant today. You have a TPO. You have the necessary relief.
Oh. And that's the end of it. Yeah, I feel for that guy. I mean, he's pretty serious about it, and he's, you can tell he's scared. But like the judge said, you got to have a little bit more for an arrest warrant. First thing, if you have a security system, it's better to not have it stored there. It's better to have it stored on the cloud. That way, no one can get their hands on it. We got one of them Ring cameras. That thing is nice. That works very well. So, a couple of those in your house would help tremendously. That and keep your phone on you in case he comes up on you again. You can just grab your phone and start recording. Excuse me. Because the way that guy acted worried me. It really did. I feel bad for him, but it takes more, and it's good and it's bad that it does. Hey, darling, how are you doing? It's good and it's bad that it requires that much proof in order to move forward. We don't want people getting arrested for silliness because there are plenty of people out there that'll accuse others of ungodly things just to be mean and nasty. And I'm sure y'all know a few of them. I know I do. And it's a shame, but because of that, we have to be extra careful with what we do. Hopefully, this gentleman can. Hopefully he's left alone. That would be the best thing. But if not, hopefully he can get some proof. And it comes down to you got to have enough proof for the police to move on it. And you do that, you don't need to go any further. But yeah. Well, anyway, that's what we have time for this evening. I'm really glad y'all stopped by, and I hope to see y'all again real soon.